Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda.
Hare Krishna, welcome. We are reading Bhagavad-gita in our channel. Bhagavad-gita, here it is, because we're reading Bhagavad-gita as it is. Translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and my name is Labanga Latika. We are in the 5th chapter, Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness, and that's, that's the answer. Arjuna is asking Krishna, so you tell me knowledge is good, and then you tell me to do these activities. What do you want? No, he doesn't ask like that, of course, but he wants Krishna to clarify, and Krishna will clarify here how activities in Krishna consciousness, then you have both. You have knowledge, you also have activity that isn't, they are not karmic, they are not activities that you do to get a certain result, but there are activities that you do in the beginning stage to train yourself in spiritual Krishna consciousness, and in the advanced stage it will be a direct reciprocation in love with the Supreme Lord. I want to read text 11. Kayena manasa buddhya kevalairindriyairapi yogina karma kurvanti sangang tyaktvatma sujyate. The yogi, abandoning attachment, act with body, mind, intelligence, and even with the senses, only for the purpose of purification. Purport. When one acts in Krishna consciousness for the satisfaction of the senses of Krishna, any action, whether of the body, mind, intelligence, or even the senses, is purified of material contamination. There are no material reactions resulting from the activities of a Krishna conscious person. Therefore, purified activities, which are generally called sad achar, can be easily performed by acting in Krishna consciousness. Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu describes this as follows: Iha yasya hare dasye karmana manasagira nikilasvapyavasthasu jivan mukta sa uchyate. A person acting in Krishna consciousness, or in other words, in the service of Krishna, with his body, mind, intelligence, and words, is a liberated person even within the material world, although he may be engaged in many so-called material activities. He has no false ego, for he does not believe that he is this material body or that he possesses the body. He knows that he is not this body and that this body does not belong to him. He himself belongs to Krishna. And the body too belongs to Krishna. When he applies everything produced of the body, mind, intelligent words, life, wealth, etc., whatever he may have within his possession, to Krishna's service, he is at once dovetailed with Krishna. He is one with Krishna and is devoid of the false ego that leads one to believe that he is the body, etc. This is the perfect stage of Krishna consciousness. Yeah, I'm so happy that we are reading this chapter now, because this is so encouraging. These are kind of basic points, but also points that we don't necessarily find anywhere else. Because Krishna consciousness is that very encouraging process where we come as we are, and Krishna engages us, connects with us, and helps us to understand how to do it. Because all these activities, of course, we do take guidance. This book here, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Prabhupada has published a summary study of it that is called Nectar of Devotion, which is very instructing on specifically how to act in Krishna consciousness. It starts on a kind of basic level and goes to a very advanced level that we may not be able to apply, but we can be very inspiring. And especially at the beginning, when we get this information there very, very practically, and we get confirmation of Krishna's words and also of the explanations here, what it means. It means a yogi in Krishna consciousness does not artificially renounce. There's also a term for that, falgu vairagya, false renunciation. When we renounce things they're not ours to renounce, because even this body, these senses, everything actually belongs to Krishna. So when I can utilize it in Krishna service, then that's perfect. Then, of course, at one point we die and we leave this body behind, but the same mindset and the same activities go on in the spiritual world, where we do not bring a material body with us, but our original spiritual personality will manifest, and we can interact with Krishna and the devotees in different ways. And in this material world, going to the spiritual world, it's not a matter of figuring out geographically, I will now take my car and I will, turn left at the second intersection. No, Krishna consciousness, the spiritual world, means that place where everyone is very harmoniously engaged in Krishna service. So if we do that here, we're already in the spiritual world. I had a line here that I wanted to comment on. Yes, when one acts in Krishna consciousness for the satisfaction of Krishna, any action is purified of material contamination. There is no material reaction resulting from the activities of Krishna conscious person. We sometimes hear the example of a coconut. Coconut is very thick shell, it's very hard, it's very difficult to crack. And the nut, regular nuts, you crack them and there's a little nut inside, but with a coconut, the nut is kind of stuck to the shell on the inside. But apparently when they mature and when they become ready, then it shrinks up a bit and it becomes loose from the shell, and when you shake it you can hear that there's a loose nut on the inside. So in the same way, I don't want to say that the Krishna person is a loose nut, that's not what I want to say, but even while we are still inside this physical body, when we mature and develop in Krishna consciousness, the attachment to the body is not there anymore. Even if we're still inside the body, there is no attachment. We can still be fully connected in Krishna consciousness in this very body by acting in connection to Krishna consciousness and dedicating and using our body and senses and mind and intelligence and whatever else we have, we can use it in Krishna service. Then that will create the spiritual world wherever we are. I will read one more verse. Yukta karma palang chaktva shantim apnoti naishtikim ayukta karma karena palesakto nibadyate. The steadily devoted soul attains unadulterated peace because he offers the results of all activities to me, whereas a person who is not in union with the divine, who is greedy for the fruits of his labor, becomes entangled. Purport. The difference between a person in Krishna consciousness and a person in bodily consciousness is that the former is attached to Krishna, whereas the latter is attached to the result of his activities. The person who is attached to Krishna and works for him only is certainly a liberated person, and he has no anxiety over the result of his work. In the Bhagavatam, the cause of anxiety over the result of an activity is explained as being one's functioning in the conception of duality, that is, without knowledge of the absolute truth. Krishna is the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead. In Krishna consciousness, there is no duality. All that exists is a product of Krishna's energy, and Krishna is all good. Therefore, activities in Krishna consciousness are on the absolute plane. They are transcendental and have no material effect. One is therefore filled with peace in Krishna consciousness, but one who is entangled in profit calculation for sense gratification cannot have that peace. This is the secret of Krishna consciousness. Realization that there is no existence besides Krishna is the platform of peace and fearfulness. Yes, because peace, when we experience the opposite of peace, when we experience anxiety, it is often based on that mentality of desiring the fruit of our activities and not being sure that we can have them. So someone can be, we speak of hankering and lamentation. Somebody may be wanting something that they don't have, and somebody may be sad about something that they have lost. But both of these stages come from that identification. I am this body and I want to enjoy this world for me. When you apply to Krishna consciousness, that falls away, and that is just in and of itself, that is an enormous step. Because sometimes people ask that, why do you have to be religious? Why do you have to give everything to God? Why can't you have it just for yourself? And then the question is, what do you want to have? Do you want to have a lot of things? I saw that sign once. Whoever has the most things when they die wins. Yeah, what are you going to do with it when you die? But what do we want? We want happiness, we want peace, we want connection, we want love, relationships. That's what we want. Things, of course we like our things. They're good things, they're useful things, they're interesting things, and sometimes we find something new. That's all right. But we do understand, most of us do understand, that they are not the main thing. They are not the core of our existence. We are eternal persons, and as persons we connect with other persons, and as persons we experience feelings of joy, of happiness, of contentment, and those feelings, they cannot live in a heart that is not peaceful. So really, this is a little bit the solution to many of our anxieties. I don't want to say that we should just think ourselves happy and we shouldn't care about the existence of this world. That is, how to say, that's another part of Bhagavad-gita, where Arjuna takes responsibility as a kshatriya to build up the society that takes responsibility for its citizens and so on. Of course, there are problems, external things, and when we have that responsibility, we deal with it. But at the same time, we need to be that person who is situated on that platform, that nishta platform, that steady platform of spiritual realization, in order to have a clear view of reality and what needs to be done. And one side of that stage is that we become peaceful because we realize how to interact relative to this material world and how to act in relationship to Krishna, which are both quite essential aspects of life. I think I read the next verse as well. Text 13. Sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukhang vashi navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvan nakarayan. When the embodied living being controls his nature and mentally renounces all actions, he resides happily in the city of 9 gates, the material body, neither working nor causing work to be done. Purport. The embodied soul lives in the city of 9 gates. The activities of the body, or the figurative city of body, are conducted automatically by its particular modes of nature. The soul, although subjecting himself to the conditions of the body, can be beyond those conditions if he so desires. Owing only to forgetfulness of his superior nature, he identifies with the material body and therefore suffers. By Krishna consciousness, he can revive his real position and thus come out of his embodiment. Therefore, when one takes to Krishna consciousness, one at once becomes completely aloof from bodily activities. In such a controlled life, in which his deliberations are changed, he lives happily within the city of 9 gates. So that's a bit of a project for us, to adjust how we relate to existence within this body. Because one quite often, how to say, in an intuitive sense, goes in one of 2 directions. Either we go all in. Yes, I'm going to enjoy now. I am on Facebook, and in the summer we get these pictures of the sunset with a glass and the feet sticking up, and oh, I'm on a lovely beach. It may be very lovely. Obviously, beaches and sunshine are lovely things. But how do we relate to them? Of course, Prabhupada would take walks in nature. he would appreciate Krishna's nature very much. But that aspect of just trying to grasp as much enjoyment out of it as we can will create a lot of anxiety. The other direction is to negate that. I'm going to be transcendental, I'm going to renounce everything, I'm not going to be involved in this world. That often creates a hard and brittle mentality that is not really open to the loving relationship to Krishna and also to the other people in this world. So it's not that you take a little of one and a little of the other and you get a good middle point. No, you avoid this dilemma by doing something totally different. We go to Krishna. We control the mind and the senses in a natural sense by connecting them to Krishna. Yeah. By Krishna consciousness, he can revive his real position and thus come out. Yes, that I read. The 9 gates are mentioned as follows. Navadvare pure dehi hangshole layate bahi vashis sarvasya lokasya stavarasya charasya cha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is living within the body of a living entity, is the controller of all living entities all over the universe. The body consists of 9 gates, 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 1 mouth, the anus and the genitals. The living entity in his conditioned stage identifies himself with the body, but when he identifies himself with the Lord within himself, he becomes just as free as the Lord, even while in the body. Svetashvatara Upanishad. Therefore, a Krishna-conscious person is free from both the outer and inner activities of the material body. So it's a question of perspective, it's a question of knowledge, and it's a question of identification and activity. But we can do this. We can apply this knowledge. We can get to that position. Maybe not immediately, but we take to the process of Krishna consciousness. Actually, it starts before we take to the process. It starts with a desire. First, the desire is a little bit of curiosity. What is this Bhagavad-gita all about? The next desire is, I would like to experience this. I would like to see myself in that position. And therefore, we read this, we get a better picture of how it works, we apply it. And yes, that's what we're going to do. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for watching. We aim for updates every Tuesday and Friday. Please come back. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there. We also have some links and information for you. And there is, of course, the subscribe button. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I'm a Hare Krishna, and I approve this message. Subscribe.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.